The thing about this queen was I found when I was playing her, I would go right back into myself, because I think she is way back in there, and then she's looking out. I always did this before a take, because then she's way back in there, and then it's as if she's looking through portholes in a very steady way at the world, just watching it. And that's why she isn't there. Do you know what I mean? And I think one of the great extraordinary qualities of the Queen herself is that she's one of the most eternally public figures, and yet completely mysterious, very private and mysterious to all of us, and she's managed to maintain that mystery.
So how do you go about trying to get yourself inside such a mysterious person?
You just watch a lot of tape, and I so wish that I could have seen your documentary that you were a part of before I did it. Unfortunately, that went on television after. But because that had invaluable stuff in it. But I watched all tape that I could find.
It's looking and
reading. I found myself gravitating towards the Queen as a young girl. How she grew up, the house that she lived in, and her obsessiveness with tidiness. I suspect that she had, maybe still has, but certainly had as a child, what's it called, OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder, So I found myself really looking at the young Queen for my information about the woman of today.
It's very disturbing for many of us. I mean, I don't know way of saying this politely, but it's a sex symbol for billions of people around the world. And now you're playing the Queen.
Well, I've always looked very like the Queen. I know it doesn't, Andrew. It really doesn't mess you up if you think about it. Genetically, I look quite like the royal family. Certainly when I was younger, and if I ever had to play a part with a dark wig on, yes, I immediately looked very like Princess Margaret. And, I do have physical similarities to the Queen, or at least to the family. So, and I look quite like her, actually. It's quite scary. I mean, the scariest thing is now when I look at the Queen, I think I'm looking at a picture of myself, which is, I don't quite know what's happened in my brain. Some weird sort of thing has happened.
And your current great triumph is another Queen, Elizabeth I, famously beheaded Mary Queen of Scots. And again, a fascinating character to try to get inside. I read somewhere that it was the revelation that she once fainted from anger, yes, that provided a key for you.
Yes, that was quite a key. There's someone who could reach that height of passion, and also that height of ego. And I think people who are allowed to give vent to their anger and their frustration and their overall grumpiness, that allowed just absolute free rein with that, and she was.
No constraints.
No constraints, emotional constraints whatsoever. And she let it rip without any question.
So it's sort of the opposite, actually. The current, yes, Queen is famously, yes, constrained and restrained.
Absolutely.
And terse.
The extreme personality, in terms of personality, the extreme opposite. And yet, there's a very, very strong similarity between the two, identical thing, which is that both of them, they had this absolute single-minded dedication to their job of being the monarch. They both felt that they should be there, that God had put them there, and that it was their job to fulfill that destiny to the very, very best of their abilities. And I think that is, neither of them resisted it. And I think especially with this present Queen, I think in her dreams she wouldn't be Queen. She doesn't want to be Queen in that sense, but she feels, I think, the mantle has fallen upon her, and she has to fulfill it. That is her destiny.
She has to drink it to the last drop.
She has to drink it to the last drop.
You are now, of course, have been for some time, Dame Helen Mirren. You're a Dame Commander of the British Empire, and you can go out there
and command.
Command, yeah. Command performances.
Yeah. Becoming a dame, I was very ambivalent about it. I was very worried about it. Worried about losing my street cred, which is, long gone anyway, so,
But you don't go around sort of slapping people and saying, Dame Helen. Helen,
no, I don't.
Pal.
And I think, accepting it, I wish my parents had been alive. I would have taken their advice. I suspect they would have been incredibly proud.
What does this do to your sense of your attitude to the monarchy and all of that? Because you're a bit of a lefty in the old days, a bit of a Republican.
Yes, well, I was brought up in a very anti-monarchist, very extreme left-wing socialist household, you know. And I embraced that. And I think I still do, although I'm pretty mellow about it. I was never particularly political anyway. I have a friend, an Italian friend, who is a member of the Radical Party in Italy, and he said their function is to be the pepper up the arse of all the other political parties. You know, they don't want to get into power, and I have great sympathy with that kind of political attitude. But anyway...
But also, clearly, a lot of sympathy with the Queen as a person, or interest in the Queen as a person.
Yes, absolutely. Well, when you're acting someone, you have to try and get in there and see the world from inside and looking out.
I think everybody could understand, even if they were very sort of depressed about it, when you gave up Prime Suspect, because I think I read that you were worried that if you were knocked over by a bus, someone would say, there goes Jane Tennyson. Yeah. You've been so associated with the role. But now you've come back for the last hurrah, as it were. Why was that? Was it brilliant script, or a feeling that this was a final chance to do well?
I thought after 7 years away, I'd put enough distance between myself and that character for that, you know, bus scenario not to happen anymore. And I mean, it's such a great position with Prime Suspect. I get to work with really great directors and really all the best writers that are available, really, really good actors. So it's and also I have a voice in it, which is the best thing of all. I can command. And you're rarely in that position as an actor. So that's seductive.
And can you tell us anything about this? I don't want to give away plot lines or anything, but it's slightly tougher and darker than some of the earlier ones I read.
Well, they all aspire to be tough and dark. You know, every drama wants to be tough and dark, don't they? Yes, it's
the other ones were pretty tough and dark.
Yes, they were. They're serial killers. How much tougher and darker can you get than that? Yes, all of that. But yes, this is it's inner city kids. It's hopefully. I mean, we always want to make it very relevant to the world that we all live in. You know, it's the writing that makes it into a good role or not.
You're in the middle of filming Prime Suspect at the moment. So what's next?
I don't know what's next. I've no idea. It's a mystery.
A mystery. Well,
An adventure.
On that mysterious note, thank you very much.
Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you.
Thank you.